you guys a little bit of history and information of how this grad house project came to be. So back in November 2009, somebody presented me the opportunity to take the position as Student Life Commissioner, as the current Student Life Commissioner at that time was about to be removed from her duties by Council. And I presented myself forward. I was the only candidate, and therefore I inherited with the ratifying of the Council the position of Student Life Commissioner. At the time, the cafe was losing between 50 to 70 grand a year through bad operation, bad management. And that year, when I took on the cafe was already at just below minus $40,000. We finished the year at about minus 45. So we changed a lot of things to be able to be more accountable, more financially sound at the cafe. And that was done through extensive, through having worked many years in the bar industry, serving industry, the entertainment industry, having been a student executive at the Student Federation for 2 years, opened the undergrad bar back in 2006, 1848. So I came in with a wealth of knowledge, changed a lot of things, then moved on to hire. We actually went through 2 managers during that period to find the right fit. We ended up finding the right fit in June 2010 when we hired Kate Gilbo, who's done a fantastic job at the cafe. Under Kate's management, the cafe has been very profitable. So if you count from July till the end of April, if you cut off the first 2 months of the 2010-2011 year, which were both in the red, the cafe has been striving and has been doing really good. And so that was a really good thing, a really good match, and we've done really well at the cafe since then. But a few months before that, we had identified in February 2010 that in order to be able to sustain the cafe, we needed to do major renovations. And when we looked into the renovations, as soon as we started touching the building, bringing the building up to code was going to be too costly in order for us to do what we needed to do to manage and operate within the current structure that we had. And so we were dealing with either moving forward with a $1.25 million project of just renovating without expanding, or if we were to move forward and really expand and try to meet the demand of our student population, go with the GSAED, the Plan A, and go for the project, which was estimated at the time at about a $3.5 to $4 million project. We've met with architects, we've gone through several plans over the course of February 2010, all the way to the beginning of the referendum campaign, which was also in February of 2011. So in the course of that year, we've gone through many renditions. We added a patio. We had several meetings with the students on campus to try to identify what was the need, what was the ask, what should we put in that building, define what we wanted in that building. And so the grad house project started to take form. And all of this was done under my leadership over that period of time. And when we got to the referendum campaign, once we had solidified something that we believed was going to represent the needs of the students, we were ready to present it to the students to ask them if they were willing to pay their money to finance the building. We had a plan that was locked in. We had a financial plan that was also built in to support that. We negotiated, actually Seamus was part of that negotiation. It probably wouldn't have happened as well without him, so props on Seamus for that. We negotiated with the university. He was at the time with the Student Federation. I was with GSAED to get some of that equity back from the university center. And the amount was something like 6.3 or 6.5 million for the total student population. And we negotiated with the SFUO of last year our share of that amount, which worked out to be, the final amount wasn't calculated because I was removed from my duties before we could have a hard figure, but it was supposed to be just over $600,000 as a down payment, and then with the capital building fund that we have here at GSAED, add to that was going to be your down payment, and then the referendum money, the $22.50 per student per semester, was going to finance the rest of the mortgage over the course of 30 years with a cushion built into it. And so the referendum itself, the presentation of that $22.50, was one of the hardest tasks to do for this project, probably even harder than maintaining, managing the project moving forward. The hard part was the pitch, was the sell, was building a project that suited the needs of the students. And this is what we've done. And I was the director of that campaign. I was working with Jonathan Duguay, and we've run a successful campaign. And so through the course of this process, we've met all our deadlines. We've met them all with great success, all the way to the point where we were ready to hand it over to the next executive, and at which time, also during the campaign and the month following the campaign, a lot of concerns from councillors, from students, who is going to maintain this project, who is going to carry this forward. And so I mentioned that I would be willing to do so if council wanted me to do it. And so at the March meeting of council created a committee, the Grad House Committee, that was, sorry, I'm just trying to keep on time, the Grad House Committee, which was meant to oversee the work of the Grad House project, to make sure that regardless of what the executive officers for the coming year and the following one would want to do as priorities, as project, this project would have the attention that it deserves and it would move forward. That committee, the memberships were voted here by council. The piece that needed to be done, council appointed me and as project manager with a contract to be determined to be ratified by board. The contract was drafted by the internal commissioner, was approved by the executive. At the time, there was 5 of us. Patrick was part of that executive. Everybody voted in favor. I abstained because of the conflict of interest. I didn't vote on it, but everybody voted in favor of it. That was supposed to be brought to the board to approve the financial piece of the contract. The terms of reference of what the position was, my appointment to the position were not supposed to be the pieces put into question, but they ended up being. And then at the board, I don't know what happened, how the discussion was shaped, because I wasn't there. A vote was done, and I got informed via email that the GSAED executive, I've heard that I was representing the interests of the project. I put it in the letter, word for word, the way it was presented to me, and that I was to cease all representation activities on the project. That was May 17, 2011. My last meeting on the project was May 12, 2011, at which point the project was on target, on time, at a $4.0 million budget, and our budget is actually 4.2 to 4.5. So at that point in time, we're on course to meet our deadline. When I was removed from my duties, without real explanation as to why, the project started to go astray. People in the committee were emailing me what is going on. Nobody took the leadership. Manager of the cafe didn't know what was going on. Everybody felt that this project was getting dropped because of poor management of the situation.
Sure, I'll remind you that it's a tax on the
Wait, I'll try to rephrase what I'm saying. And so, with the management of the situation, nobody was taking the lead, and for the past 2 months and a half, the project was left floating. I've heard that now the project is over budget by about $1 million, which wasn't the case. We had some Class C estimates at the time with the contractors all around the table, all agreeing that we were on target, on budget, and now this has exploded. $1 million over $4 million, that's 25%. How we've achieved to blow up the budget by 25% in 2 months baffles me. In the process of removing me from the situation, no attention was put on the succession plan. No explanation was given to me. I have a wealth of experience, wealth of knowledge, a track record that is spotless on this project and many other projects with the association. Council had made a decision to appoint me. The board, from the recommendation of the executive, decided to overturn that without their approval, which shouldn't have been done because really council is above the board. And so this was done for other intent, which I think is where the scandal lies. Somebody wanted someone not to be there for whatever reason, and somebody else got put in place. It happens that that person has a personal relationship with one of the executive members. I think the person is qualified, but I think that these events are very odd, that somebody qualified within the organization with a proven track record.
15 seconds.
Yeah, with a proven track record. I'm watching my time. Sorry?
Please watch your words, please, when you talk about people.
Okay. Somebody with a proven track record with the right experience, with the right knowledge of the project, shouldn't be removed to take somebody externally.
Thank you.